We are out here on the edge of the stage. You've got the microphone in your hand and you can hear the rustling of the crowd in the seats. Maybe there are some faces you recognize, maybe some you don't. Maybe someone you know is filming the whole thing so it will live on forever in internet time, and you have a choice. You can turn away from the microphone and walk back to the safety of the familiar wings, or you can lean into the mic and into the unknown. So which will it be? Welcome to our channel. If you're new here, subscribe to be notified when we publish our next video. There are many ways to approach the idea of leaning into the scary, but today we're going with the paradox. Do it scared. We'll start by defining our terms, and then we'll break down what it means, why it matters, and how you can apply it to your life. First up, we want to cover 2 key points about being scared. Then we'll teach you how to use that knowledge effectively. First, doing it scared isn't about overcoming fear. It's about doing it anyway. Second, you'll always have reasons not to do something. You might as well save yourself the trouble of coming up with them all. Now let's look at why this matters. You know, you've been eyeing that corner office or the house with the white picket fence or the solo flight of the fighter jet or the dream job or the dream partner. Whatever the thing is that would change everything for you if you could have it, it's probably on the other side of some kind of resistance. Doing it scared is a philosophy for getting past that resistance, especially if you're naturally predisposed to procrastinate. So how does doing it scared actually work? Well, the first step is understanding fear itself. Your brain perceives a threat, real or imagined. Now, we're not talking about the rational kind of fear, like, say, if you decided to jump off a cliff without a parachute, that would be a bad idea. Instead, we're focusing on irrational or growth-limiting fear, like the feeling that comes from a fear of judgment or failure or looking foolish or discomfort. Here's how to spot the difference. If you add rationality to the fear, it doesn't go away, but it becomes easier to manage. When you remove rationality, however, the fear becomes much harder to overcome. For example, don't jump off the cliff is rational advice. But saying, you're going to die if you jump off the cliff is not helpful? No duh. On the other hand, I'm afraid people will laugh at me is not rational because there's no objective basis for that assumption. However, I think people might laugh at me is rational and therefore useful. Our brains were designed to keep us alive. That's the amygdala's job. If it weren't for the amygdala, we'd lounge around unconcerned as a lion tamer finished his afternoon snack. This little almond-like organ deep within your brain causes your heart to race and your skin to break out in goosebumps whenever it perceives a threat. Whether it's a saber-toothed tiger or public speaking or starting a new business or having a difficult conversation with your spouse. Amygdala has evolved to keep us either running from the saber-toothed tiger or running toward our goals. It does this by releasing chemical signals to initiate fight, flight, or freeze. When you feel overwhelmed by a powerful emotion, especially fear, mindfulness practices help you tap into your prefrontal cortex. This part of the brain allows you to step back and observe what's happening rather than react. You can see the crocodile without needing to climb aboard. In other words, mindfulness allows you to observe the crocodile without becoming the crocodile. As Pema Chodron wrote, mindfulness is awareness without judgment. When you're mindful, you can choose when to feed the crocodile and when to ignore it. Fear itself isn't bad. It's a natural response to uncertainty and the unknown. And while a little healthy fear is good, too much can lead to procrastination and stagnation. Sometimes that's okay. It's better to miss an opportunity than strike out. But if you're too scared to swing, you won't get any hits. Just ask the legendary baseball player Babe Ruth, who struck out nearly 1,300 times during his career, but still went on to become one of the greatest players of all time. He didn't let fear of striking out stop him from taking his cuts. Instead, he used each strikeout as an opportunity to learn and improve. We can frame fear as information rather than a roadblock. It's not a stop sign, but a signal telling you that there's something important to pay attention to. When you feel fear, ask yourself, is this genuine danger or just the discomfort of novelty and uncertainty? You don't have to jump off every cliff. but it's usually worth figuring out how to get to the other side of the river. Here's a simple way to make the decision. Ask yourself, will I regret this more 5 years from now or 5 minutes from now? Usually, you'll find that the pain of taking action is temporary, but the pain of inaction can be lifelong. Remember, sometimes we stay in the shallow water of the comfort zone simply because it feels safe, but that doesn't mean it's smart. Growth happens outside the shallows, and if you never venture out, you could miss out on all the amazing things that await you. Don't settle for less. Take the plunge and explore what lies beyond the surface. After all, the water's not going to get any calmer. Might as well learn to surf. The third step is knowing when to do it scared. The main goal is to avoid letting fear dictate your actions. Otherwise, you'll find yourself stuck in a place of inaction and missed opportunities. But when you're faced with a choice, ask yourself, is this something I want to spend the rest of my life avoiding? If the answer is yes, then you should probably take action anyway. It's like that time you knew you needed to see the doctor about that nagging cough, but you kept putting it off. Eventually, the cough got worse, and you ended up spending more time waiting for a diagnosis than you would have had you seen the doctor right away. The same goes for life's little annoyances. That small inconvenience you keep ignoring can turn into a major headache if left unchecked. So face your fears head-on and tackle that to-do list. It might be scary, but the alternative is scarier still. At some point, the only thing standing between you and your dreams is the courage to take action despite the fear. But how can you do that? The trick is to break it down. When something seems overwhelming, break it into micro actions or tiny steps. These are little actions that you can take without getting overwhelmed. Once you get the ball rolling, the momentum carries you forward. This approach makes the journey less daunting and helps you build confidence along the way. For example, let's say you're aiming to run a marathon. The thought of running 26.2 miles straight might seem terrifying. But if you break it down into weekly goals like running a mile without stopping, then eventually running 10 miles on the weekend, suddenly it doesn't seem so impossible. You can see the progress you're making, no matter how small, and that motivates you to keep going. Another powerful tool is cognitive reframing, which means changing the way you interpret the negative thoughts in your head. These thoughts can be self-limiting beliefs or doubts that hold you back. They might sound like, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough. Here's how to reframe them. For instance, instead of thinking, I can't do this, say, I'll try. Or instead of, I'm afraid of failure, say, I'm afraid of what other people will think if I fail. By reframing your thoughts, you can shift your perspective and overcome negative self-talk. It's like turning a phrase from I have to I choose to. It might seem like a small change, but it can have a huge impact on your mindset and motivation. To wrap things up, here's a golden nugget to ponder. Fear is inevitable, but inaction is a choice. So don't let fear paralyze you. Be brave and take action. Even if you stumble and fall, you'll be closer to your goals than you were before. Remember, courage isn't the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Now it's your turn. Think about something you've been scared to do. What's stopping you? Do it now. Go on. We'll wait. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share it with others who need to hear this message. And don't forget to check out our platform, where you can find exclusive content and a community of like-minded individuals. Thanks for watching.